This episode is brought to you by Bioptimizers. So Bioptimizers is a company from Canada that actually came in contact through Ben Greenfields, who's a biohacker and a health coach. And I have my functional nutrition degree, so I have a bit of an eye, and I used to do men's health covers and went through a whole decade with my dad having ALS and passing from ALS. So I can smell a bad product, and I can also identify a really good product. And I've been using the sleep optimizers for a while. So if you have a hard time sleeping, check that one out. And if you have a hard time digesting food or your skin's a bit wackadoodle, this Masszymes is a miracle. This is their probiotic, and then their flagship is this product called Magnesium Breakthrough, which is 8 different kinds of magnesium. And one of the cool things about magnesium that you might not know is it closes the calcium gate in your cell, which EMFs from your cell phone or from your Wi-Fi's, there's a little calcium gate in your cell that gets kind of jammed open from electromagnetic frequencies. And magnesium helps to close that so your cell is whole, and you want that. It also, for a lot of people, it helps with their heart, their blood pressure, and helps them to get a good night's sleep. But it moves you from fight or flight into rest and digest in a biochemical kind of a way, at least assists in that process. So they're helping, they're sponsoring my podcast. So if you do pick that up in the show note below, there's a code there, and they'll give you, I believe it's 15% off right now. Just check out the code. And back to the podcast. All right, everybody, I won't see you till Friday. Actually, Sunday. So I'm switching it up for this month. This is maybe we can put a link in the chat if you guys want to pop on. So there's a Patreon community, which just is like a place where we gather, and I share stuff quite often, behind the scenes stuff, but also I'm going to go live there Fridays. And you have to be a member to come to those Friday shows, but I'm still going to keep this one, this Sunday one for Facebook and YouTube like this. This is my 875th one. I think I've only done a couple private ones. They've all been public. So if you enjoy my music and you want to join us Friday, like some of you have, many of you have, if you're watching this later on the replay, today is the 6th of April. And so this is, there's a link there, patreon.com/Paul Greene, if you're watching this later. And then there's a few different perks and things you get if you become a member, and that way it's a bit of an intimate, for now it's going to be on Zoom, so I'll get to see you. If you want, you can keep your camera off if you don't, but you get a little bit more behind the scenes in me sometimes doing hunting for gremlins with my tech, but I definitely get to know you guys a bit better. And I share things first with my Patreon community. So it's just a really cool way to stay connected to the music. What else? I think that's it. PaulGreene.com. And if you're in other countries watching, I have a movie in the theaters called Autumn and the Black Jaguar. I think it's still there. It's coming to America at some point. Probably when the next Coming to America comes out. But at some point. And that's it. God bless you guys. Please be kind to yourself and your thoughts on purpose, and to others, then it'll be more natural, and you're not your past or the story you made up about it. I keep repeating it because that's one of those things. You are not the story you made up about your past. And for some people it goes over their head like 50 times, but when it hits with the kind of power for you to be like, oh my gosh, I've made up a story. See, everything happened. Things happen to all of us. And some people make a miraculous gift of a life, even with great trauma. One person's trauma is another person's triumph, meaning like the same event can happen to 2 people, and it all comes down to what they make it mean. And in the work that Kate and I do, the amount of sexual abuse that we deal with, that we hear, is so shocking to someone like me that didn't grow up in that kind of world. I didn't understand that it was such a thing. And if it's not sexual, it's some kind of verbal abuse or something. But here's what I've learned, that the same thing can happen to 2 people, and it all just depends on what they make it mean, as determines the quality of the rest of their life. Like they can get stuck in Groundhog's Day of feeling unworthy, or making that person like pay in their mind or wrong, or that now all men are just dogs or whatever. But the same thing can happen to 2 people. So I know it's almost like someone running the 4-minute mile. Like you can if something like whatever happens to you, you don't have to be a victim to your circumstances. As you grow and as you get some more tools in your tool belt, you can actually, like, no matter what happens in your life, you don't, and a lot of you do that, with your relationship with God, but, and yes, but I also, like, people sometimes just put it all on God, and they forget to kind of work on themselves and develop their own, like, ability to like move through things really powerfully. And I feel like we do this, like, some people just like, Jesus, take the wheel, but I honestly feel like, it's much more like God's the car, and we're we're in there steering this thing with him, like, but it's the vehicle of, like, I really feel like there's people, they sit on their couch and they're lazy and they're like, well, God will take care of my health. And that's not the way it works, y'all. That's not the way it works. And the same with your emotional healing. Sometimes you have to get in there and, like, do some forgiving and then make it mean something else. It's just a choice. Anyway. And I know I triggered some people because some people are very, 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 very committed to the identity that they built around being a survivor of some of those things. So when you start tapping on people's identity that they've had for 20, 30 years, you can really, and if you guys feel triggered, that means there's an opening there to actually discover something cool. That's what a trigger is. It's a trigger. It's also a lever. Okay, that's it. I might just share that little piece as my podcast because I feel like it's so important for people to know. First of all, that they're not alone. That people have, many people have gone through just horrific things throughout the course of history. Think about, you'd have to worry about your farm being invaded by the neighbors, like a little gang of a little, like, nighttime marauders coming in and taking your children and your wife and then burning everything and stealing your sheep and your, like, that was a real thing before certain civilization. And then everyone's like, this is like, we're in such brutal time of division and hate and war, and it's like, show me a time in history when this wasn't happening. It's so much, we have such a great opportunity to really make a difference with our lives rather than just to, like, fall victim to complaining about that things have never been so hard. If you do that, it's just another excuse to not do anything. So now is the time. Today is the day. Tomorrow's really not a day in the week, and if not you, then who? And if not now, then when? Like, some of you are waiting to live your life, or waiting to, like, get in shape, or waiting to start painting or pottery or something. Like, there might not be a next week. Like, we take for granted that we think it's always going to be like this, but, like, man, life is incredibly short, but it's also, if you're miserable, incredibly long. And so time is just such a trippy thing, but, like, we don't know how much time we have left, so we might as well really enjoy it and really, really have fun. And, if you are resisting what you're hearing from me, it's just that part of you that wants to keep you safe, because your brain is designed to keep you exactly the same and safe and not dangerous, not have adventure, not take risks, not get hurt again. Once you get hurt, your brain's like, we're not doing that again. And then your brain's not designed to make you have a fun, adventurous, amazing life, which your heart is. And so I sing with all my heart, and I act with all my heart, and I'm a father with all my heart. And I feel like when you have a heart-centered living, and for some of you are completely given your whole heart to God, and so with heart-centered living, it's such a powerful way to experience new adventures. But if you're in your head, you're going to be stopped by your past all the time. And you're going to limit yourself to what you think you can do based on what happened. And that is just incredible stuff. So I'm a functional nutrition coach, just so you guys know, I'm not just talking out of my butt. And I've been with 10 years with Kate, who is her master's in NLP. And so, one of my teachers, Kathy, just, gave me more than a dozen really cool books that really shaped the way I think about some of this stuff, especially around identity. And some of you, like, if you identify as an athlete, you're going to live a different style of life. But if you identify as a couch potato, those are the choices you're going to make. And so I just wanted to share some of this with you guys. Some of you all make sense to, but I'm intentionally pushing buttons because I want you to get triggered. If you feel like, he doesn't know what I'm going through, like, I've had this, and like, if that's happening, good, that is an opening. That triggers are also levers. So if you're like, what does this guy know? He's talking about he's an actor, shut up and act. Like that happens to people, like athletes who have a political opinion. They're like, shut up and dribble or whatever. I don't believe that, man. Like everybody who has a platform or anybody who has a voice should be able to speak from their heart if they're not hurting anyone. And it's never my intention to say anything that's, oh my gosh, that's the fridge, that is loud. It's never my intention to hurt anyone with this, only to push you out of your comfort zone, because every single thing you want is outside of your comfort zone. Like everything, nothing. If you want to experience life actually living, it's all outside your comfort zone. And that's just your brain again keeping you safe. So many of you have given up. You think you're too old to, lose weight or release weight, or too old to find love again. But that's crap. That is your brain lying to you, just trying to keep you repeating Groundhog's Day over and over again, with little refuges here in a Hallmark movie, or maybe these concerts, or maybe seeing your grandkids, and then you go back to your thinking prison. And, part of what Kate and I do, we have a company that called Freedom Alchemist, is an alchemist turns something of lesser value into greater value. And, some of you might have a past that you've labeled as crap, or just like trauma and vicious and this and that. But I'm telling you, you can alchemize it. And for so many of you, you're going to say, yeah, Jesus will do that for me. Jesus will turn my past into his power. And I get that, but just make sure that you're not using that as an excuse to be lazy. I'm all for that. And I do feel like God needs to be in the absolute center of everything. But many people get really sneaky and really lazy. And they're like, God will send me a boat, and then you're drowning, and God sends somebody in a boat, and they're like, no, God's going to save me, and then God sends another boat, and you're like, no, God's going to save me. And some people live like that. My words to some of you is your boat, like for you to get on it and like experience something different than you've been experiencing. Because, man, when you live a life that's heart-centered and full of passion and fearless, you get to experience, sure, pain, but so much fun. And you literally can't have one without the other. You can't have joy without pain. You can't have fun without like risking having an absolute terrible time. If you're just like living in this tiny little world of just like safety and security because you've been hurt before, like that's not living. Like it's getting by, I guess, but then what? Like many of you are putting off doing something someday that you could start tomorrow. So this is my challenge. Start tonight or tomorrow, because you're professional procrastinators and you'll get busy on the things that don't really matter. But what's that one thing that if you did it would just bring so much adventure and joy and excitement and freedom and power and actual like a life that you might enjoy living, rather than this thing that's like, yeah, how are things? And you're like, fine, yeah, life's good. You'll be like, life is amazing. This is the best day ever. And that is like partly why I do these concerts and have the lyrics I have, is to like, so some people will hear the lyrics and find some freedom, at least a path to freedom. And everyone's is different. You don't have to live your life like me. Like I ride motorcycles, fly airplanes, and do crazy things when I was younger. Now I have a young person. Now I have 2 kids. Kate doesn't want me riding motorcycles, and I haven't flown since my dad passed, since I flew his plane. But like there is a call to an adventure, and like every good movie follows this hero's journey where you're at home and you know how everything goes, and you hear this call to adventure, and very few people answer it. But when you do, you leave everything that's familiar and you get out there, and you do meet scary things, but you'll also meet new mentors and new coaches, and that you will experience something totally different. Then when you return home someday, you're a different person, you're changed. And many of you do that. Some of the mission trips do that. They take kids on a hero's journey like it's an adventure, and they come back totally changed. So I wanted to leave you with that you are not this. Whatever thing happened to you in the past, whatever you made it mean, does not mean that's what it actually meant about you, or about men, or about women, or about whatever. Or if your mom's, put you on diets, or someone called you fat, that's okay. That there's a lot of people that those early traumas can really affect people at a certain age. And some of you have been living that story since 13, some even younger, or maybe somebody hits you or hurts you, and you're in that moment, you just get this thing, and that's the rest of your life. I'm sent to wake you up that the rest of your life doesn't have to be that thing. And many of you, you're like, I know, Paul, I have God, and I give it to God, and that's amazing, and I want you to do that. And then once you've given it to God, I want you to take action of actually moving your life and moving your body and going on adventure, because that's where all the fun is, and that's where all the growth is. All right, so what I just shared will be going on my podcast, The Grass is Greener, and your listening helped me create it, so thank you so much. And if you haven't found my podcast yet, it is The Grass is Greener with Paul Greene. I have the YouTube channel, The Grass is Greener Podcast, but also on Apple iTunes, and there's 40 episodes. Thanks to you guys, there's 300 reviews on there, and they're all 4.9 5 stars. So if you enjoy my podcast, share it and like it and do all that stuff. I'm going to save this last 20 minutes, and I'm going to actually cut it and edit it and put it into the podcast and the video from this for the YouTube channel. But thank you guys, because you being here allowed me to speak it. So I love you all, and God bless you, and I will catch you. Please do me a favor and come to my concert Friday. If you go to Paul Greene patreon.com/Paul Greene. I think it's also on my bio and everything. But I love you guys. Also, and if you need extra help with your life in any way, Kate, my partner, and I have a business for the last 6 years called The Freedom Alchemist, and we have a year-long journey with us that's an adventure called The Alchemy Method. So if you feel called to have some accountability, that's what we need. All right, love you all. Bye. I'll catch you later. Thanks.
You are seeking, he's no longer here. Tell me, where have you laid him, so I can take him, yet he feels so near. The stone's been rolled away. The stone's been rolled away. Doubt me, so open your eyes and choose to believe. Just put your hands here and look into my eyes. Just place your hands here and you will realize stone's been rolled away. The stone's been rolled away. store.